us, and we've got our doctor up already, which is okay. We That was Dr. Annie Fenn, and you know how you go to a doctor's office, you make an appointment at 1 o'clock, and you wait until 2:15 to see the doctor. I have to tell you that Annie Fenn, the author of this wonderful book that we're going to be exploring today, The Brain Kitchen, the Brain Health Kitchen, and we're going to be doing that, and it's we're going to have a lot of fun. We really are. We're going to be talking about preventing Alzheimer's, maybe even see if we could reverse it. So that's what we're doing today. And I told Annie that I was going to do one other thing. With all the tumult in the Middle East right now, and I can't understand it. I don't understand it. It's been going on literally forever. But we have to get along, and we have to get on with our lives and not let these terrorists take charge of us. And so what I'm saying is that that's why I wanted to do the show tonight, because even though there's people dying, and we here in the United States are having just thoughts going out, good thoughts going out to the people of Israel, I think that we have to go on with life, and that's what we're doing here on Mark Alyn Cooks. All right, enough preaching. We will be, just say yes, and here we go. Hi, I'm Mark Alyn, and this is Mark Alyn Cooks, and we're going to cook a wonderful dinner that's brain healthy. We're going to bring in our guest right away. Her name is Dr. Annie Fenn, and Annie, after I'm going to shorten the story, but basically after being a OB/GYN for at least 3 years,
20.
20,
20 years.
20 years, you went to culinary school part-time and started cooking, and you're a chef as well as a doc.
Yeah. Well, I gave up my medical practice. I started a cooking school called Brain Health Kitchen, and it's still the only school of its kind that focuses specifically on preventing cognitive diseases like
Can,
Alzheimer's.
well, can I teach there? I,
Sure, guest chefs are welcome.
all right, good. We'll do something. All right, we're going to make a really fabulous sounding dish, and as we make the dish, we're going to talk to Annie about different things. If you have comments, if you have thoughts about, well, not about OB/GYN anymore, but about food, about brain health, give us a shout out. We'd really love to hear from you. This is a very important show. And before we start cooking, we're going to be making scallops and curried lentils. It sounds fabulous. Do you think that people, say 45 to 50, are afraid of waking up and not knowing who they are?
I think it crosses everyone's mind once they get to midlife. There have been surveys on people at midlife and older, and getting dementia is one of the biggest fears that people have. And it's becoming more and more a problem in terms of, there's an epidemic of Alzheimer's in our country and around the world because of baby boomers. It's baby boomers like us. We are entering older age groups in record numbers. And as we get older, we become at greater risk for these neurodegenerative diseases: Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lewy body, vascular dementia. A lot of this is driven by our aging population. So yeah, a lot of people are worried about it. A lot of people have been touched by the disease as they see, partners and aunts and uncles and siblings and spouses get
Parents.
parents. So everyone's become a lot more aware of the problem of declining cognitive health.
I have to
So
I have to tell you that the book is easy to read. Carol is actually sitting down and reading the book. She asked me because I do a lot of the grocery shopping. She said, "Do we buy unfiltered or filtered olive oil?" And I said, "I don't know. I have to look." And so we always buy organic, but now I'm going to be buying organic unfiltered olive oil. And can you explain why I should do that?
well, it depends. You know, there is a whole chapter on olives and olive oil in the book. So if you're not an olive lover, this chapter is designed to convert you because it's one of the brain healthiest fruits. And also olive oil and other cooking oils, there's just a lot of misinformation. So no, it doesn't always have to be unfiltered, but it's the newest, freshest olive oils that have the most brain health nutrients, like polyphenols. So
And as
everyone
I've
should know how to read a bottle of olive oil at the grocery store.
and I have to say that I have not met an olive yet that I did not like. I love
Fantastic.
some, but I always have some kind of olives in the refrigerator. All right, let's go back to the stove and let's start. We're going to start by making, I think, the sauce, right? The
Yes, so you're making a spiced scallops with curried beluga lentils. Now, I came up with this recipe as a main dish that you can make in under 30 minutes because everyone I know wants to get dinner on the table quickly. Whenever I create recipes with brain health in mind, I'm also trying to include as many brain healthy food groups as possible.
well,
So
we've got
this
some. You've got
has like
spinach
five
and
food groups. Yeah.
right, you and garlic and cumin and I mean just all kinds of things. All right, I'm heating the pot. Um, what is your take on canola oil?
Oh, I rarely use it in my kitchen. It's not that there's anything horrible about it. Some are better than others. There's a huge variety of quality when it comes to canola oils. The fat profile is not that bad, but there are oils that are better. So I don't really have a use for it. Never
Got
buy
it.
it, never use
Yeah, I'm not buying it any. I haven't been buying it. I'm using this now. This is avocado oil, and it is organic. Again, I buy organic. I'm going to put some in the pot right now. I think it's about 2 tablespoons.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's a good neutral flavored oil for when you want to cook something at a higher heat. Now you could
yeah,
use extra virgin olive oil here, but it may not marry with the flavors of the curry and the turmeric and the ginger. And also your pan will probably get a little bit too hot for the olive oil, which could break it down at its smoke point.
and the avocado oil has, as you said, a high smoke oil, a high burning point, right?
Yes,
So
you can get it a little bit hotter without breaking down the healthy fats.
got it. And
Yeah.
we don't want to do that. Um, is there a misnomer about fat in general?
It's very misunderstood. People just do not understand fat. Like first of all, I would love for people to get away from the whole idea that there are like good fats and bad fats. I mean, there are some bad fats. Those are the trans fats or the man-made fats, the stuff that is in a lot of processed food that is being weeded out of the food supply. Those are definitely bad fats, all the artificially made ones. But other fats are all have a role in our brain health and our in the rest of our health. It's all about the proportion in a brain healthy diet. You want to
Got it.
have more monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, and you want your diet to be relatively low in saturated fats. So saturated fat comes from, like red meat, butter, cheese, dairy products, coconut oil, things like that. Monounsaturated fats you get from olive oil, nuts, seeds. You get it from avocados, avocado oil. And then polyunsaturated fats you get from a lot of fish and seafood and some other cooking oils.
All right. Well, I'm going to put in, I think I'm putting in curry to start, some curry powder into the olive oil, correct?
Into the avocado oil,
I
you're gonna
meant the avocado oil. I'm so used to
yeah,
the
you're
other.
gonna what we call bloom it. You're gonna just give it some flavor. This will add a lot of flavor to the dish.
I'm going to turn that down. And what's next? What goes in next?
And then
I've
you're gonna
got
add the you're
a little
adding
bit of
scallions.
the salt.
Scallions.
Oh, the scallions. Okay. Ooh. And I'm going to stir that around. I may add just a tad more oil.
We are on page, I'm showing everyone, page 150 of the book. And this recipe is in the fish and seafood chapter. Fish and seafood is one of the brain healthy food groups. So I have lots of different ways you can use fish and seafood. I'm particularly fond of bivalves like scallops. They have a lot of brain health nutrients in
Now,
them. And the beginning of each chapter has a food pyramid where I talk to you about how to buy, fish and seafood, whatever the food group is, how to avoid the fish that are not as sustainable, how to buy good quality seafood that is high in brain health nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, but
if
very
you
low.
buy, I'm sorry, I've been buying fish primarily from Whole Foods, and they have, it's not a pyramid, but it's a list. There are certain levels of sustainability that they will sell and they won't sell, and it's listed right there. And when you buy it on the package, it says what it is, and I really like
Yeah,
that.
Whole Foods has a really nice fish program. And
Yeah.
another one, if you don't have a Whole Foods where you live, is just go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch. And they also have an app you can keep on your phone because the sustainability issues from the seafood changes like almost daily, in terms of which seafood is becoming extinct, which, all these rules about fishing it over the world. So I like
Right.
the Monterey Bay Seafood Aquarium Watch too.
Carol and I've actually been to that aquarium. Okay, the next thing we're putting in is um, little salt. I
Garlic,
think,
salt.
okay, a little kosher salt. And I'm going to grind in some pepper. And I'm going to stir that up some more. You hear that, folks? Ooh. Okay.
Good.
And now we like garlic. Garlic, I think, is very healthy. I've talked about garlic with many people.
Garlic is fantastic. All of the alliums in the allium family, they're really good vegetables as part of a brain healthy diet. They also make food delicious. And the most important thing about eating healthy food is it has to be delicious. It has to be the kind of food that you crave, that you want to eat all the time. Otherwise, what is the point, right?
Right. Have you ever been vegan or vegetarian?
No, I've never been vegan or vegetarian, although I would say that my diet is, probably 90% plant-based right now.
Got it. I was going to ask. Now I'm adding in. I've cut the recipe down because it's just Carol and me. Here is a half a cup of whoa of coconut milk. Now is coconut milk better than coconut oil, for example?
Yes, I mean, coconut milk for me is sort of a treat to cook with because it is a very creamy, very rich milk that has more saturated fat than the other things I would cook with. If you wanted to cut back on the fat in this dish, you could use cashew milk or almond milk would be absolutely delicious. But we're using coconut milk here because it really just goes so well with the lentils and the
Oh,
scallops, and
it's
it
you.
just makes it very rich and wonderful.
I'm trying to invent smell-o-vision, and because this would, I mean, it's already smelling so good. The next thing I'm going to put in is some water.
Mm-hmm.
There we
Yes,
go.
I dilute it a little bit. I love the flavor of the coconut milk. I love the richness of the fat. But like I said, in general, we want our meals to be lower in saturated fat. So I'm mixing coconut milk with water so that it's not, over the top rich. There's still plenty of flavor.
Now I'm going to put in pre-cooked. These are steamed lentils. You in the recipe you call for beluga lentils, and you make them yourself. And that can take a while. It can take a half hour just to cook the lentils from dry lentils. So I cheated a little bit. We've used these before, and they're delicious. And thank you, Trader Joe's.
It's a great swap. You know, I like to think of lentils as like the fast food of the legume world because they do cook pretty quickly. Like black belugas, which are tiny black ones, they cook in 20 to 25 minutes. So they fit with my under 30-minute rule for this dish. But this is a great hack. I'm very much in favor of using minimally processed foods that can help you jumpstart your dinner because it's really hard to cook everything from scratch. Even I can't cook everything from scratch. I just don't have time. I
Right.
love this. This is a great idea.
And as I said, they're minimally processed. They have a little bit of seasoning in it. Um, I, I, but it's they're really good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I think we're going to let this simmer for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And I'm going to move this to another burner, and we'll turn that on and make it very low. And I know that Carol will be watching me and making sure I don't burn her dinner. Okay, we're going to take just a time out. I want to do a little toast to you and what you're doing. I thought a Vouvray would go nicely with this, and I went to Total Wine and they recommended this. And we're going to find out how it is. It was about 15, 16 bucks.
Well, I wish I
And
had some with you, but I'll be toasting you with water.
Okay, and this is actually a Chenin Blanc Vouvray. So, to health, happiness, and peace for everybody.
Cheers.
Inner peace and world peace, okay?
To lifelong brain health.
It's a lifelong brain health. Carol's really going to like this. It's got a nice, sweet aftertaste. Yeah, I don't know what you did with it, Carol. I'm passing her the bottle.
That'll be really nice with the scallops. That's a really nice pairing.
Yes, really is. Very nice. Okay, so let's start the next part. I should put. I'm going to put the lid on, but I'll keep it ajar, and then. What I'm going to do next is I'll do that right here. I'm mixing in the ground ginger and the turmeric, and I'm going to put that here in this. And I'm going to stir that with my little spoon here. Ginger is one of those spices that also has a lot of health benefits.
Yeah, it really does. You know, there's a lot of anti-inflammatory benefits in these spices. Turmeric, ginger, coriander, cinnamon, a lot of the ones that start with C, cumin, they have anti-inflammatory properties. And because we're only eating them in very small amounts, spicing a lot of your food throughout the day is the way to get, a good amount of those nutrients.
What about supplementation of, I take ginger tablet capsule a couple times a week. I've taken turmeric. I take garlic every day, aged garlic. What's your take on supplements?
It depends on what your goal is.
Lifelong health.
Yeah, for brain health particularly, the supplement goals are different. Like for example, if you could take turmeric supplement because you've got achy knees or an achy shoulder, because we know it's such a potent anti-inflammatory. And some people find that really helps. and some people find that it doesn't. And the studies are mixed. It's a very individual thing.
Got it.
Turmeric, the active ingredient, doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier very well. So even though it's a potent anti-inflammatory, taking a turmeric supplement's not going to do a whole lot for preventing Alzheimer's. There is a formula that you can take that is a doctor's prescribed. It's actually curcumin and oil globule in a pill, and that crosses the blood-brain barrier.
And
So there's
I just did an
indication.
interview. I'm trying to think of the name of the product that is. It's a turmeric, and it's been proven to cross that barrier. It's
Yeah,
bioavailable, and they're doing it more and more. There's a show coming up. I'll be doing a special next week on it called Supply Side West. And if you have what it is, if you're doing your own vitamins and supplements, uh, they do research, and they have places to buy vitamin C and garlic and all the ingredients. And I'll be talking with somebody from the show next week. We have a special. It'll be on YouTube and on Facebook next week. Okay, moving right along. I think. Oh, I got to add this too, and I'm just adding a little bit. We don't cook with a lot of salt. I probably eat a lot of salt because I love fermented foods, but
yeah.
I don't
You
cook.
can always feel free. Most of my recipes are fairly low in salt, but they can be. They're also very flavorful, so it's easy to cut back on the salt and adjust as needed. Some people consume too much salt, and some people don't consume enough. So it's
Got
really
it.
one of those individual things.
I should have put this in a bowl, and I
I
didn't.
think you'll be okay because there's
All
not
right.
that many. You just want to make
Right.
sure they're nicely coated,
Okay.
and you're going to get your fingers nice and yellow. That's part of the fun. But you
Yes.
want to cook the scallops nicely. No, you could make this with shrimp. You can make this with salmon fillets. You can make this with tofu, cubes of tofu, and I think it would be really good this way. And you would just do the exact same thing. You would be just coating each piece with the spice mix.
Yeah, I have to tell you, it's. Oh, we have a comment. Hey, Gene, how are you? I was thinking about you earlier today. Gene Rowland was our production assistant at one point. She was our producer. She's terrific. Lunch
I
soon. And we had some other people down there too. Just names? No? I'm. So what I'm going to do, because I want to cover all of these, I'm going to take. Carol, you're going to hate me. If I get up in the middle of the night, Carol makes the bed. I need the curry. I need some more. Just a little bit.
Yeah, get those scallops
Oh,
nicely coated.
how about if I do it like this? I'll do it. I came up with another. This one won't be as coated. It'll be fine, Carol. Yeah. All right. And I'll show you this plate. Is that pretty or what? Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take that, and next is I'm going to put this into a skillet, and that's some olive, again, avocado oil. There we go. And I'm going to smush that around. Now we're going to be serving this on a bed of lentils and spinach, which is good. I'm going to move this around.
Yeah, you're looking
Okay.
good. So you're going to be
Good.
searing scallops, checking on your lentils, make sure the bottom doesn't burn.
Yes. Let's
Maybe
do
give that a
that now.
stir. And then you're going to have your spinach ready to go too.
Now the spinach is really wilted, isn't it?
Yeah, it just needs to be wilted. You don't really need to cook it much. If you have large spinach leaves, you can slice them. But if you're just using like baby spinach, you can just throw a handful into the pot.
Got it.
You can also use
Okay.
arugula. You could use Swiss chard. You could use any kind of green collards would be really good in this. Any
You
green
know,
that is going to be down in a few minutes.
yeah. The other day I saw, and I don't see these often, are mustard greens, and I
Oh
love
yeah,
them raw in a salad. Right?
absolutely delicious. One of my favorites.
Okay. So we're doing that, um, and we're gonna put these right into the oil, right?
Yep. And scallops, are so good. The main thing with cooking scallops is you just have to try not to do too much to them. They are just so pristinely delicious on their own. They're best if undercooked slightly
Yes.
because when you remove them from the pan, they'll firm up in the center. So the most important thing is just not overcook them and don't overthink them. They barely even spice mix on top of them. It's just kind of like an extravagant thing to do, but it goes really well here.
Now, one of the things in the book that it says that I find fascinating is you call for 3 ounces for a serving, and I think the USDA does as well. Only 3 ounces?
So my serving sizes are based on medical studies that have looked at dietary patterns in people. A lot of the science that the brain healthy dietary pattern is based on is very specific. Serving sizes. So when I think of food as medicine, I also think food in doses. Okay, so the reason 3 ounces is a serving is because 2 to 3 servings a week of fish or seafood in the Mediterranean diet is the dose that's been shown to prevent Alzheimer's. Now, there's been other diets studied, like the Mind diet, where just one serving of fish or seafood a week was shown to reduce Alzheimer's significantly, as much as 53%. And that
So,
serving is 3 ounces.
so Carol and I were talking about dinner tomorrow night, and we're thinking of salmon, but we will already have had our 3 ounces, won't we?
You can have more than that if you want to. It's really just getting a minimal amount of omega 3s specifically into your body to prevent neurodegenerative diseases. There's a
And
very
what
dose of that too.
and what about supplementing omega threes?
Very good idea. Um, People that don't eat any fish or seafood, like vegetarians that don't eat seafood, vegans, highly recommend supplementing with DHA and EPA, which are the marine-based omega 3s. And people that eat seafood maybe once or twice or 3 times a week, I still recommend supplementing just because it's very hard for us to absorb it sometimes. It's a crucial brain health nutrient when it comes to preventing Alzheimer's, and there's really no harm to get a little bit too much. Most people are not getting enough.
Okay, I'm turning these over. They smell great. I often eat scallops at a sushi bar, raw. And
Yeah,
do you? And I should say
yeah,
that do you eat sushi?
yeah, I do. I love sushi. So you live in California, and not everyone has access to, pristinely fresh seafood right down the street or sushi bars. So that's why fish and seafood sourcing can get really difficult. I live in Wyoming, so we don't have any, close ocean. I do have a Whole Foods, and it's a very good source for seafood. But I'll tell you, like when I buy my salmon, I buy it directly from a fisherman in Alaska. He freezes it on the boat. He puts it in a box. They send it to me. So sourcing of seafood is really important.
The other day when Annie and I talked for the first time, she said she'd been very busy that day. She had gone fishing. I don't remember what you caught, but you released it. You sent it back.
Trout.
Trout.
Yeah, trout in Wyoming.
Wow. That
Yeah, and
is.
trout are beautiful. They're actually a really good, healthy fish to eat. A good source of omega-3s, protein. But we do catch and release. We don't really harvest the trout.
See, my problem would be what would I do with it? Because it's kind of wiggling there, and I'd have to let it go. I'd have to let
Yeah,
it
we
go.
let it go. We let it go.
These are almost
They
done.
we want them to stay around for a long time.
Yes. So I've got the sauce going. I've got the scallops almost done. What do I do with the spinach?
When your scallops are almost done and your lentils are going to be done because they're pre-cooked,
Yes.
you just add the spinach to the lentils and coconut milk.
Okay.
Stir it up, and then put the lid on. You want this on a low heat. It doesn't really need to cook as much as it just needs to steam in the liquid. And you can do it
The
right from the back.
I'm
One big
turning this.
handful is about a cup.
Whoa.
And if you feel like it needs a little bit more liquid, water.
No, no, there's a lot of liquid in this.
So maybe turn up the heat a little bit because you want that water to cook off. It should end up being sort of a creamy sauce.
And I'm using Trader Joe's baby spinach organic, which was triple washed.
Yeah, and I like choosing organic greens when I can. They're very porous. They soak up a lot of pesticides. Organic is a really good way to go. The dark leafy greens are the ones that are most brain healthy for you. These is
One
the
of
spinach, kale, the
right.
Swiss chard, the collards.
How do you get to? How do you make kale tasty? Will you come back and tell us how?
Yeah, yeah, kale can be really good. Kale's delicious. Most
I
people just
don't
don't
know
understand.
about that. I'm not sure. I've had green and purple kale and fried. It's that I'm not sure, but
Well, you're
if
gonna
you
have to
say
go to
so.
the beginning chapter and look at your new favorite kale salad. And that's the one that converted my husband into a kale lover. Because normally he just was not loving the kale when I made it. But this salad has a blueberry shallot dressing. It's really easy to make, but you warm up blueberries
Ooh,
with shallot, olive oil, and garlic, and tarragon, and then you puree that into a creamy dressing. And because the blueberries are a little bit acidic, it actually tenderizes the kale, and you add just some hazelnuts and some sliced beets and carrots, and it's actually just really, really great.
okay.
You
Well,
have to try that.
yeah, I will. I'm, I haven't even tasted this yet, and we're gonna plate it now. Oh, here, no? Yeah, I'll take another one. I'm going to plate this. Now I'm going to take some of the spinach and lentil. I'll show you that first. Oh my, I wish you could be
Delicious.
here.
It looks very nice. And when you do it with the black beluga lentils, you've got that contrast of the black and the green. But the green
Yeah,
lentils are a really nice choice here too.
and these are, yeah, and I will try this recipe again. I know I will. So I'm going to put one on here. Um, as people who have watched the show know, I um, we eat everything we make, right, at the end, unless I don't like it. But I like my own cooking, which is why excuse me,
Bless you.
thank you, allergies. Well, here's the moment of truth. So I'm going to wait just a second. I'm going to cut the scallop in half. I'm going to taste the spinach, and notice that the spinach is not completely cooked. It's wilted, as Annie said, right? So here we go with this. Oh, Annie. I know it's your recipe, but I love this.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. You know, it's got the garlic, it's got the scallions, it's got all those nice spices. The coconut milk makes it just feel really
Oh,
rich. And you did such a nice job. And I'm going to use that pre-cooked lentil hack because I think that's a really nice way to speed up cooking time.
no, it cut the time almost in half.
You know, this makes really good leftovers too. The other thing you can do with this dish, besides using other types of seafood or using tofu, you could not use lentils at all. Instead, you could put farro. Like, have you ever made risotto? I'm sure you make
Right?
risotto. Have you ever made it with farro, which is a wheat
No.
berry? So farro is a whole grain. It's absolutely delicious. It has a lot more fiber than, arborio rice or other types of rice. But you cook it in the sauce. So you could do this. You can make the base of this a grain, like a farotto, risotto made with farro. And it would be also be like a really, really great dish without any beans at all.
And Jean has asked the name of the book. The name of the book is the Brain Health Kitchen, and Annie teaches courses in this, classes in this. I guess they're virtual, aren't they? Or do you come into?
I teach all over the world, actually. So it's the Brain Health Kitchen, Preventing Alzheimer's Through Food. It came out in January. I went on a 5-month book tour. I cooked all over the world with people from the book. I do brain health retreats in Italy, in Central America, in Mexico, and all over the US. So people can contact me and look at my calendar. I have week-long brain health retreats where you learn not only how to cook delicious recipes, but everything you need to know to take care of your brain. I also do virtual cooking classes. And if you come to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where I live, give me a holler and maybe we can get together and cook together.
I look forward to that. It's one of the few states I have not been to. This is, excuse me, I'm sorry.
You got to finish your dinner, and you can have more than 3 ounces if you like.
Oh my, I didn't buy enough scallops or anything.
Well, the thing that I want to tell everyone about eating for brain health is it's not about deprivation. It's not about like this very austere, healthy cooking. I use a lot of rich foods in my cooking. I come from a place of being like in love with cooking and sharing food. So it's really more about the food than the healthful aspects. If you don't love the food, you're not going to eat it. It's not going to become part of your life. And it's not going to impact your brain health. So
When
it's
you
always
come back, and I'm going to have you come back in December if you're around, okay? Let's do something with olives, because as I said earlier, I do love them. Annie, thank you very much. The name of the book again is the Brain Health Kitchen. The Brain Health Kitchen, and we'll give you the website again. It's a Substack website, brainhealthkitchen.substack.com. That's Brain Health
Yeah,
Kitchen.
try to get a hold of me now. I write a newsletter twice a week about new studies that come out. I'm always creating new recipes. If you go to brainhealthkitchen.com, there's 100 free recipes as well.
Ooh, that's a good thing. That is really good. Will you come back,
Yeah, I'd love
please?
to. It's fun.
Okay. Did you have a good time? Good.
Absolutely. I didn't get to have any wine and I don't have any scallops, but it's about as much fun as I can imagine.
But when you're in Wyoming next time, you'll be at home. We'll be able to drink more.
Yeah.
Okay. This
That'll
is
be
to
fun.
you to help.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me on the show. Thanks
Thank
everybody for
you.
joining us. Really
Okay.
fun.
Hold on. Don't go away. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. Listen, everybody. Thank you for watching. Again, let's pray for peace throughout the world. Next week, we're going to be doing some gluten-free dishes. We're going to be making some from a company that makes the dough. You buy the dough, you make all kinds of things like pita chips, for example. We're going to be doing pita chips and an apple turnover all in a half hour. So join us next week. I'm Mark Alyn. Thank you, Carol. You really did a great job. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.